retiring from WIP Radio and also from my TV work at NBC Sports Philadelphia. I've truly enjoyed working at both places. I love the people I worked with, and I'm proud of what we built. But I feel it's time to go.
Ray Didinger, right here as a youngster with Chuck Bednarik, got to live his dream. He announced his retirement from the radio and TV Sunday on WIP. He was on our air on Eagles pre- and post-game live since its inception in 1997. Ray is a Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee, a 4-time Emmy Award winner as a producer, and a 5-time Pennsylvania Sports Writer of the Year. An incredible career, certainly worth celebrating, and that's exactly what we'll do over the next 30 minutes here on Birds Huddle, presented by PointsBet, joined by the Hall of Famer himself, Ray Didinger, sitting there on the end of the couch, as well as the man he rode shotgun with for all those years, Michael Barkann, here to my left, and the man Ray has had the pleasure of covering as a player and working with as an analyst here at NBC Sports Philadelphia, Barrett Brooks. I'm Danny Pommells. Ray Didinger, this is your life. No, but Ray, we appreciate you.
Don't go!
Right. How you feeling, Ray? Just a couple of days later since you announced the retirement.
Very emotional. Very emotional. I knew it would be, and it's been even more so. Largely because of the response that I've gotten from people, emails, phone calls, people who were total strangers, people I hadn't heard from in years, old high school classmates. All these people reaching out and saying just wonderful, wonderful things. And it's really been kind of an emotional tsunami, you know, that I've been living in the last couple of days. But it's been wonderful, and for all the folks that have reached out and have sent me greetings and good wishes. I am trying my best. Honestly, I'm trying my best to answer everybody. The last 2 nights I've been up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning trying to answer literally every email personally. If I don't get to you, please understand it means everything to me what you've been saying, and I appreciate it so much.
That is your way, Ray, and we appreciate you sharing this moment with us and spending some time. How much are you going to miss the game days on Sunday? We're really curious with the crew of Michael, Barrett, and Seth Joyner.
I'm going to miss that a lot. I'm going to miss that a lot because post-game live started a long time ago with Mike and me and Tom Brookshire. I was the guy that when they came up with the idea said, this is never going to work. Doubted it. I said, come on. I said, a post-game show with no video, no highlights. You just got a couple guys sitting at a desk talking. I mean, who's going to watch that? Right. And Tom Statakis, who was then the program director, said, I agree with you. In most cities, it wouldn't work. But in Philadelphia, it will. And here we are all these years later, and Tommy was so right.
And that was 1997. We started we only did home games initially. We started in the middle of the 97 season because we came on the air then as Comcast Sportsnet October 1st, and I don't recall what the first Eagles game was after that, but it was you and Johnny Sample, I believe, the Philadelphia native. He's since passed away, played for the New York Jets in that Super Bowl, and then the Gov came on, and the Gov had season tickets. He came on, he was burnt to a crisp that first game. His collar was all, turned up. Right, Gov? I know he's out there watching. And then so started the show.
Yeah, he was covering me, I mean,
yeah.
I was a part of those legal notepads that he had, I mean, he gave me my grade when I was getting drafted, so I mean everything he said was true too, Hey, oh, look at this.
There it is.
Here it is. I love it.
And we got the notepads in the flesh.
Good athlete.
Ray, how long have you been keeping these notepads?
I actually started right around the time that Barrett came out of K-State. It was right around 94, 95 was when I first started doing it. I just did it because I kind of wanted to have it for the record. I kind of wanted to break down, and people can kind of see. They always thought I joked about this. No, I really did do this. And you see the way it's set up there. There's a line down the middle, and the pros are on the one side, the pluses are on the one side, and the minuses are on the other. And then at the bottom, there's an evaluation along with a lot of stats and everything. And that was kind of how I kept track of all of it. And I did it every year from 94, 95, right on through this past season.
Wow, legendary stuff. We got some of it right here. It's kind of heavy, even though it might not seem like it because of the weight it has. But, throughout the show, we'll bring you some of the best moments from Ray's time here on TV. And this moment, when he stood up for Eagles fans everywhere prior to Super Bowl 52 with Michael Barkann and Barrett going at it with NBC Sports Boston's Mike Felger, is an all-timer.
How many games at Schaefer Stadium did you go to back in the day?
I went there when I was a kid. That was a bad environment.
You want to tell me about violent fans? You want to tell me about thug fans? The people I saw in Schaefer Stadium, they were the worst in the NFL. But then you started to win, didn't you? No, and then everybody got happy.
Not only that, you had when was that? Was the turn. When was that, Ray? It was 40 years ago.
Everybody.
Right. We've evolved. Unlike Philadelphia, it's like,
no, we're still hearing about snowballs and Santa Claus, which was more than 40 years ago. I mean, I'm tired of that stuff. Seriously, look, I have all the respect in the world for Boston fans. I think it's a great sports town. I think in many ways it's very similar to Philadelphia. I think the passion of the fans. But one thing you cannot deny, the people in Boston didn't even know there was a football team in Foxborough until the Patriots started winning.
Tell them like it is.
Beautiful. They didn't know what hit him. Felger retired after that. So did Albert Breer. Are you kidding me? I was scared.
Hey, listen, I'm normally a pretty mild-mannered, roll with the punches kind of guy, generally speaking. But don't take cheap shots at the Philadelphia fans when I'm there, because I'm going to come back at you. And I like Mike, and I think Mike does a good job, and that was a fun show. But I thought he was way out of line that day, and somebody had to call him on it, so I guess it was my turn.
Sure was.
Love it.
Well, legendary stuff for sure. Only Ray Diddy could do Ray Diddy type of things. Hey, we've got more with Ray throughout the show, so be sure to stick around. As we break, here's the statement Eagles chairman and CEO Jeffrey Lurie put out on Ray's retirement. It reads, in part, Ray Didinger spent more than 5 decades telling the story of the Philadelphia Eagles and bringing our team into the homes of Eagles fans everywhere. On behalf of our organization and Eagles fans around the world, we congratulate Ray on a tremendous career and wish him all the best in retirement. Ray Didinger, hanging him up. We'll be right back. I know this one was special for Ray Didinger. The Reds Bagnell Award presented to him by the Maxwell Club back in March for his contributions to the game of football. They didn't know he was retiring. This was just something that he earned. And prior to that, we caught up with another Hall of Famer, former Eagle Brian Dawkins, to get his impressions of Ray.
Ray spits truth, man. And sometimes truth is not, it's not always pleasant, right? But no, he knows his stuff, and he's not going to necessarily dog anybody, right? He's not trying to do anything that way, but he spits truth, and he knows the game. He's been around it for so long, and he's seen so many different talents and personalities come through the game that, again, when he spits that truth, you know it's truth.
Hey, the truth is not always convenient, but it cuts through the nonsense, and that was Ray Diddy to a T back here on a special edition of Birds Huddle with a man riding off into the sunset oh so successfully, Ray Didinger, as well as Michael Barkann and Barrett Brooks. I'm Danny Pommells. A wonderful message to hear there from Brian Dawkins. It caught you off guard, right, Ray?
Totally off guard. I had no idea that Rob Kessner was getting that sound that day at the Maxwell Club presser. But that meant a lot, that meant a lot. I mean, Doc is one of my favorite guys. I mean, I've covered a lot of players that came through this town in the last 50 years, but he's one of my favorites. I mean, I remember when he came in as a skinny kid out of Clemson and saw him develop into a great player. I mean, a legit Hall of Famer. And to know that he kind of believed in what I said and understood what I was doing when I was critical, and to sign it off by saying, he knows his stuff. Right. You can put that one on my tombstone. That's okay.
You represented Philadelphia in such a way that 2 baseball players come to mind. One is John Kruk. When he became a Phillies Hall of Famer, he said, I feel sorry for athletes who never played here because they were afraid to try to succeed here. Sure. And as well, Bryce Harper, just opening day or the day after, when he said, what I love about Philadelphia fans is you let us know, his words, when we suck. And I think that's what you did. That's what you led that way. And that's important. That's why we stand out in America as a sports town.
Yes. Well, I tried to. I think that if I've been asked a lot this week by people, how would you like to be remembered? And I keep coming back to the one basic point. If just as honest, I would like people, not that you were a great stylist, not that you were a great broadcaster, not that you were nifty or slick, but that you were honest, and the things that you said you believed. Even if you don't necessarily agree with it, you believe that it's coming from an honest place. And I think that's the only way, Mike, and you know this, I mean, you've been in this town almost as long as me, it's the only way you can succeed and last in this city is if you are honest. Because the people here are too smart. They don't want to be patronized. They don't want people on the air that are telling them that things are good when they know that's bad. You know, you got to be honest with these people. And if it's good, you can say it's good. But if it's bad, you got to tell people the truth. Because in this town, they won't tolerate anything less.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you had that effect on players, and it wasn't just the players. We tracked down a couple of the coaches that you covered, Ray. Have a listen to this.
Ray, congratulations, man. 50 years of following the Philadelphia Eagles. You got some stories. And I appreciate everything that you did for me when I was there in Philadelphia. We had some great conversations, and you were honest with me on the reporting of the play, and good or bad, and I appreciated that. You're all class, man. Enjoy every minute that you have in retirement. You deserve it. And we'll stay in touch.
Hey Ray, this is Doug Peterson, obviously formerly the Philadelphia Eagles, now the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I just want to say congratulations on a 53-year career there in Philadelphia in the media and in NBC Sports and everything that you've done. The godfather of Philadelphia. Hey, and guess what? I'm just so excited that obviously we had a chance to win the Super Bowl in 2017-18, you know, not only for you but for the fans there in Philadelphia. And you know, just want to say that I'm wishing you the best now in this next chapter. I think you want to be a granddad and invest your time in the grandkids. But again, congratulations on a great career, and wish you well moving forward.
That's beautiful.
That was as sincere as it gets, right?
Yeah.
That was really good.
You know, you don't know this, but Andy, before we showed that clip, he started with and now the retirements. Let me see. Jim Gardner's retiring. Angelo Cataldi's retiring. Ray Didinger's retiring. Time's yours. I understand, Danny. That's what he said.
I have to. That was beautiful. I mean, I thank Andy and Doug for doing that. That's great. I have to tell this one quick story about Andy.
Love to hear it.
Andy and I had a somewhat contentious relationship.
Okay.
I mean, it was philosophical based. I mean, Andy, I like running the football. Andy did not. And there were many Sundays when I questioned his play calling, let's say. And it went back and forth. We certainly weren't buddies. But when my mother died, they put an obituary in the paper, and they wrote about her being a great Eagles fan, which she was for sure. And I was down in Florida getting her belongings together, and I got a call at the house, and it was my wife. And my wife said, "You're never going to guess who called the house just now." And I said, "Who?" And she said, "It was Andy Reid." He had seen the obituary in the paper, and he wanted to call and talk to me. And this was in season, a Tuesday, which Barrett knows, but that is heavy day. That is game plan day. That's the day the coaches never leave their office. Okay?
Right.
Andy stayed on the phone with me for 45 minutes talking. And I guarantee you his coaches were down the hall in a meeting room waiting for him. But I was the one that said, "Andy, you know, this is a really busy day. You know, I appreciate what you're doing, but you really kind of got to get back to work." That gesture of kindness to me was so unexpected, but so meaningful that
shows the respect.
I've never forgotten that, and I'll always be thankful to him for that.
Wow, wonderful story, Ray.
Even in retirement, he's breaking news here.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
A new story that we had not heard. A look at the lighter side of Ray over the years right here as we head to break. We'll be right back.
I was down in New Orleans covering Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran. I went down there to cover it for the Philadelphia Daily News, and I went to the Duran workout. And after the workout, Christy Brinkley was sort of hanging around. For whatever reason, she came over and just struck up a conversation with me and said that she had never been around boxing before, didn't really know that much about the sport, and she started all of a sudden asking me questions about who is Roberto Duran and what's his life story and blah, blah, blah. And I tried to fill her in as best I could. And after talking to her for about 20 minutes or so, she said, "This is all very interesting, tell you what, why don't you and I go out and have lunch together and you can tell me some more. However, I had that problem that newspaper men often have, which is called a deadline. I had to file a story to the office in about an hour and a half on Roberto Duran, and I simply couldn't go out. I had to go back to my room and write my story, so I had to look at Christy Brinkley and say, that's a lovely offer. I'd love to have lunch with you in New Orleans, but I have to work. And I think it was the first time in her life that Christy Brinkley ever had a man say no to her.
Ray, true to the craft, even when staring down a supermodel, true to the craft.
I take it. I thought you were smart. I really did. Right. Now I have to take the whole darn thing back. Are you
Christy
kidding
Brinkley
me?
is here. We're going to bring her out. No.
And I've heard this story so many times, and each time I'm more and more incredulous.
Yeah, me too. The bad part is, I mean, you talk about the definition of taking one for the team.
Right.
I mean, that is really taking one for the team. Right. Well, I got back from the fight, and I told my sports editor, Mike Rathett, what had happened, that I had this invitation to go to lunch with Christy Brinkley in the romantic city of New Orleans, but I didn't do it because I had to go to my room because I had deadline. And he said, "Are you nuts?" Oh, thanks a lot, Mike.
Oh, my goodness.
That's amazing.
That's after he didn't believe the story, of course. Because he was like, what? Christy Brinkley? You and Christy Brinkley hanging out?
Yeah. That was there are many memorable days in 53 years in this business, but that certainly is in the top 5.
All right, we'll take a break here and a look at some of the lighter moments, as we promised, from Ray's years here with NBC Sports.
I mean, how about this? With all, you're 3 and 4.
You're 3 and 4.
Reality check.
Wait a second.
We have all these guys that are the greatest that ever played, but we're 3 and 4.
Where Ray is.
Don't do this. Look, it's been a very trying day. Let's not do this.
Trying day, coming off Thanksgiving, and boom, he's still upset. And I understand that.
Come on, Mike. Don't even start with the playoffs.
I am pumped and ready for the start of the game. Way before the start of the game. Messed it up. Be very afraid.
37 years in journalism, and it's all come to this.
We're sure going to miss you. We're going to miss you because you were the best. You were the best, most knowledgeable, most insightful. But most of all, you were a fan, just like we were. Just like the ordinary guy in the stands. You never talked down to us. You conveyed your love for the game without being partisan. And there were some great moments that I will never forget. But most of all, I'll never forget you and your son after the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2017 in our post-game show. That was one of the most touching moments I can ever remember in television. And it exemplified the bond that's passed down from football fans, from father to son, father to daughter, husband to wife. We're all an Eagles nation here, and you are our leader, no question. Coaches changed, players changed, but Ray Didinger was always there telling us what the Eagles had to do to win. And most often you were right. So enjoy your retirement, but I have a prediction. You'll be back.
That thud you heard was my wife falling off the chair.
Oh, you buried the lead, Gov.
What a great man.
Yeah,
well, what a great man. And when I look back on all the years of doing pre and post, a lot of great memories, a lot of great memories. But sitting next to him and getting to become friends with him and driving him home after the show
every week
and stopping for a hoagie on the way. I'll cherish those moments forever.
It's awesome. We're here showering some affection on our beloved Ray Didinger. How much does it help, Ray, stepping away, knowing you finally got to cover this team win a Super Bowl title?
That was the last piece, Dan. Angelo Cataldi, I was on with him this week, and Angelo, as he often does, asked the perfect question. He said, if the Eagles hadn't won that Super Bowl, would you be retiring? And I hadn't really thought about that. Barrett contends that I wouldn't.
No, Barrett I'd be the next 4 years.
Barrett believes that I would have hung in waiting for it. And I might have.
Right.
I might have. But I really felt like I covered the 2 Phillies World Series. I had covered the 2 Flyers Stanley Cups. I had covered Moses and Doc and faux. Right. I mean, I had done all that. The one missing piece was the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. And when they did it, and the manner in which they did do it, and then I got to celebrate it with my son after it was over, my feeling was it just can't get any better than this.
Come on, Ray. Take this. All right. Take this. I know when you want to talk, when you take this, you take your pen and tap it on thing.
Don't disregard that opinion right here, the little tapping.
The Eagles won that night in Minnesota for sure, and we got to see firsthand how you celebrated with your son, Dave, as Governor Ed Rendell mentioned. Just as good as it gets right there. Just a wonderful embrace. Barrett, I see you getting choked up a little bit there.
Bro, I did shed a tear there. You know, I had to wipe it off. I mean, trying to be tough, but I couldn't, man.
Yeah, awesome stuff. And Ray, we have a special surprise for you. It is the one and only Dave Didinger.
The double D. Oh, yeah.
We get to do this again?
There he is, my man.
To do this again. Oh, my goodness,
congratulations.
my goodness.
Come on, have a seat, man.
Yeah.
What's up, David?
I feel underdressed.
Oh, never. You kidding me?
The moment we wanted.
Bro, I tried to get you on the stage. I'm like, come on, man, come on. He's like, no. But then, hey, Mike said go. You came.
Thank you every day. I see him for that. That was something that we didn't want. I mean, he's not like that. I'm not like that.
Right.
But the way you played it off was.
I would contend that you both are like that. You might bury it, you might subvert it, but I think you're both emotional people, and you got such a love for the city and the fans that it was unavoidable.
Yeah, it was a great night.
Ray, we thank you for everything. Dave, we appreciate you being here. That's a wrap for Birds Huddle. Points Bet. I'm Danny Pommells.
Don't go, Ray.
Ray Didinger, Michael Barkann.
He's back.
See you next time.
He's back.
Birds Huddle is powered by PointsBet. Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet.